Hi all, in this session we are going to learn about Azure SQL Database. Here we can learn what is Azure SQL Database, how to create it, and what are the advantages which we get by using the Azure SQL Database. Each and everything we are going to discuss in detail, and I am going to show it to you in a practical manner as well. Let us quickly understand what do we mean by Azure SQL Database. Here the Azure SQL Database is a cloud-based relational database service that is built on SQL Server technologies, and it supports for SQL commands, tables, indexes, views, primary keys, store procedures, triggers, roles and functions, etc. Here it is also just like a SQL server. So how we are going to create the SQL server? In the similar way we can be able to create the Azure SQL database as well. Here, as you know, how much the database server is important for creating an application. Means if you want to deploy an application, you just must and should have the database server. Without the database server, it is not possible to deploy any kind of application. That much important the database server is. Here, at least you should have one SQL server or any database server while deploying your application. On top of the SQL server, you can deploy multiple databases. If you have the SQL server, on top of SQL server, how many databases you want, that many databases you can be able to run based on the capacity you had taken. Like, okay, the Azure is going to provide two types of models in order to deploy your databases. Like, what are those? IaaS, PaaS. What do you mean by IaaS and what do you mean by PaaS? Here IaaS means it is going to provide infrastructure, means simply it is going to provide the database server. On top of the database server, you need to deploy database engine. On top of the database engine, you need to create databases. That is purely your responsibility. If you choose PaaS, means the Azure is going to provide the platform to you. Means it is going to provide infrastructure along with the database engine. What you need to do? Simply you just need to deploy the databases on top of database engine. Only that the part will be taken care by you is databases creation. Everything, rest of everything will be taken care by Azure only. Here in Azure SQL Database are available in two purchasing models, DTU and vCore. What do you mean by DTU and vCore? DTU stands for Database Transactional Unit and vCore stands for Virtual Core. So let us understand in detail. So just come down. Here I just mentioned here. Coming to the vCores, what do you mean by vCores? vCore or virtual core provides higher compute, memory, storage limit. Guys, the database server is also a server, but based on the service which we are going to run on top of the server, accordingly it will be called as a specific server. If you are going to run web services, that will be called as a web server. If you run application, that will be called as an application server. If you run database service, that will be called as a database server. So here by using the vCore, what I will do, I am going to provide higher compute, memory, storage limit. If you increase the vCore, means you will get higher compute, higher memory, higher storage limit. So it is going to decide the infrastructure capabilities. And coming to the database transaction unit, simply called as DTU, what it is going to provide? It is a combined measure of compute, storage and input-output resources. The DTU model is not supported for managed instances. Here, what do you mean by managed instance? These all things we are going to learn while creating the database server. Simply, first of all, I am going to log into the Azure Portal and I am going to try to create one MS SQL database. So how we are going to create each and everything I am going to show to you in a practical manner. First of all, I need to create one resource group. So here rg underscore db. I am going to create in the east US. That's fine for me. Review plus create. So I just created one database. RG group means the resource group has been successfully created. Once the resource group has been successfully created, what the further thing I need to do? I need to select for the SQL database. Just type Azure SQL. Then here lot of options you have. Here just select Azure SQL. Right now you are in the Azure SQL tab. Just click on create. It is going to provide three kind of options to you. Like you want SQL database, for which suitability we are going to use. It is best for modern cloud applications, hyperscale and serverless options are available. It is it is just like a PaaS. And SQL managed instances, it is best for most migrations to the cloud. Suppose if you have already existing database is there, suppose if you want to move the to the cloud by using the lift and shift ready, then you are going to select SQL managed instances. SQL virtual machines, it is also used for migrations, and applications require OS level access, lift and shift ready. So based on the scenarios, you are going to select particular databases. Here, as I'm going to create this for the lab purpose, so that's why I'm going to select SQL databases. It is best for modern cloud applications, hyperscale and serverless options are available. Means here the server part and database part totally will be taken care by the Azure only. Here how many databases you want, based on that you can choose accordingly. If you choose single database, what will happen? Here each and everything I just mentioned in the notes. Just go here, come down, come down, come down. Here I have mentioned, yeah, yes, single database means it is an isolated single DB. It has its own guaranteed compute memory and storage. Means if you select this option, you have only single database and the compute capacity associated is only limited to this database only. The compute memory or storage space is not at all shared by another database. The same thing I had mentioned here. If you select the elastic pool, means collection of single DBs, means if you have multiple databases in your environment, if you want to make as a collection, and for those DBs you want to share the resource, like whatever the memory, compute or storage capacity is there, it is going to share among these single DBs. In that scenario, we are going to select elastic pool, and the final option is managed database server. Suppose if you want to select the database server, you can select accordingly, but right now I am going to select single database because of it is going to fulfill my requirement. Just click on create. Here as it is asking you for subscription, pay as you go subscription, and right now I have only $1 subscription, that is pay as you go, so that's why I'm going to select the pay as you go. The resource group is rg_db, and database name, here I need to set the database name Sunil IT DB. Here I'm going to select the database name as Sunil IT DB. And server, here you need to select the server. Do you have any server right now? Is it created earlier? No, I don't have any server in order to create the database. Remember guys, the database name is different, the database server name is different. Don't confuse among this. Here I just mentioned the database name. The database name is Sunil IT DB. And server, right now did I have any server? No. Just click on create. Here you need to set the server name. Here Sunil Cloud IT Tech Server. This is the name of server name, Sunil Cloud IT Tech Server. Here I am going to select the location as East US, and here you have the authentication method. So which authentication method you want? So here I am going to use both SQL and Microsoft Entra ID. Suppose if you want to only use SQL authentication, then you can use accordingly. Otherwise, if you want to set both, you can set accordingly. Here right now I am going to use only SQL authentication. Here if you select the use both SQL and Microsoft Entra ID, what you need to do? You need to go to Entra, you need to create one user ID, and here you need to set the admin as that. Suppose if I want to show to you, okay guys, I'm going to show to you. So here I'm going to duplicate this. For anything we can say, so go to home, simply type Entra ID, go to users, create one user. Right now you have one user is a dev tester user. User one is suppose if you want to create one more user, I am going to create one user. The name of user is DB user, and here the name is also DB user only. So here properties add role. I am going to add the role. So here I am going to add. Suppose later also I can be able to add review plus create. Click on create. So here once the DB user has been created, just refresh it. So go to the DB user. Okay, fine. Add role assignments. Assign roles. Go to assign roles. Here if I want to add any role, just click on here. So here I'm going to select. So whatever the role you want, you can select accordingly, but right now it is not necessary. So if you want to set the use both SQL and Microsoft Enter authentication, just click on set admin. Here you can select the name. Here I am going to select the DB user name. So here I am going to set the DB user. Suppose if you don't want, you can ignore, you can cancel it. Okay, in this way we can be able to create the user in Entra, and if I want to add those users to this SQL database server, I can be able to add. So here I am going to use only SQL authentication. Yes, then it is asking me to password. Here I need to set the server admin. Here I need to set the same tester 928. Here I am going to set the password just like how we are going to set the password while creating VM. In the similar way, I am going to set the password. So just click OK. Here right now you are going to set the name of the server is Sunil Cloud Editech server. You are set the region East US, and I am going to use the only SQL server authentication. Just click on OK and come here. So right now you had the one server. So the name of the server is Sunil Cloud Editech server. Here I just selected the server only, and want to use elastic pool? No, right now no, because of I don't have multiple DBs with me. So I'm going to create only one DB. I just want to limit the compute memory, storage, everything for the single database only. So that's why I'm not going to select elastic pool. Here workload environment. Here it is going to ask you workload environment. Like suppose if you are going to create this machine for production environment, then you can select develop production. Otherwise you can select development. Right now as it is created for the lab purpose, so that's why I'm going to select the development environment. The workload environment is, they'll assume you are going to create this database server for the dev environment, then you can choose the development. So based on the environment which you are going to create, you need to select the accordingly option. Here compute plus storage. Here we have the concept of vCore and DDU. Here right now did I choose anything? The compute and storage capacity? No. Here just click on configure database. It is going to provide options. Here how many vCores you want, that many vCores you can select. Suppose if you want to 2 vCores, then you can select the 2 vCores, and max is 2 cores and the minimum is 1 vCore. And here it is going to, the database automatically passes if it is inactive for a time period specified. Means if you want to pass your database, means if it is not transactional for 1 hour, it is going to pass. And here the data max size is 32. Here if you want to reduce, you can reduce, otherwise if you want to increase, you can increase. Okay, yes, I'm going to set the same. So everything is okay, and I'm going to select the serverless workload. Just click on apply and come down. Here backup storage redundancy. Here you need to select how you want to make the database availability. Here you know LRS, ZRS, GZRS, Geo Zone redundancy. So these things we had already seen in the storage classes. How the data goes. Suppose if you select LRS, means what will happen? Your data is replicated locally. Suppose if you select zone, Your database will be replicated over multiple zones. Geo redundant means your data will be replicated across the regions. Geo zone means initially the data will be replicated over zones, then it will be replicated later, then it will be replicated over regional level in the another region as well. So this is the different types of backup storage redundancy options which we will have in Azure. So right now I am going to select with the first option, that is local redundant backup storage. Just click on next. Networking. Suppose network connectivity, by default will you provide public access to your database? Obviously no. Here the database server is very important or crucial for any kind of application. Suppose if anybody have been provided the access to database server, if he make any some kind of mistakes, then the application is not going to work as per expectation. It is going to make loss of your business. So that's why it's not easy to provide access to database application. So that's why the connectivity method is no. And the connection type is connection policy default, means configure how clients communicate with your SQL database. Here by using the default policy, use redirect policy for all client connections as originated inside of Azure. So whoever is having the Azure SQL username password, then only they only can be able, I am going to make those users will be able to connect to my database. So I'm going to show to you guys. And encryption types, so here I'm going to select the encryption type as 1.2. That's fine. Just click on next. And here if you want to enable Microsoft Defender for SQL, you can use, otherwise you can ignore. These all things for security features. Why? Because of here it is a database server. I need to provide some kind of additional security to my SQL server in order to reduce the impact of security threats on my application. So initially I need to protect the database, because of if any hacker hacks my application, what he will do, he just steal my information from the database server. So that much important the database is. So that's why we are going to provide high level of security to our database services. Fine. Just come down. Here you can, if you want to provide Microsoft Defender for your SQL, then you can add, otherwise you can ignore. Just come down. Here we have a lot of options which is going to provide by the Azure. So based on the criticality of your application, you can choose the security options accordingly, otherwise you can ignore. Just come additional settings. Here data source, start with blank database, restore from a backup point, or sample data to populate your new database. Here if you have already existing database, suppose if there is an error, if you want to create this database from your backup, then you can create here. Otherwise if you want to create some kind of sample database, here you can choose option. Here if you want to backup, you can choose. Here right now I don't have any backup, I don't want any sample database, I just want to create some kind of fresh database. So that's why I'm going to select none. I don't have any existing data with me right now, so that's why I'm going to select none. Here database collation. Here database collation defines the rules that sort and compare data and cannot be changed after database creation. The default database collection is SQL Latin General CP1 CIAS. So this is the database collection. Here if you want to set some kind of sort and compare data, then you can choose this option, but here it is mentioned clearly, it is not possible to change any collection after the creation of this database. If you want to change anything, you need to change before creation of any SQL database. Just click on tags and review plus create, and it is going to validate. So once it has been validated, just click on create. It is going to take some time, guys. So here if you observe compute storage, here it is going to charge you per second basis, and for month basis it is going to charge you 398 rupees. So guys, while choosing SQL databases, make sure and after completion of your lab, do not forget to delete all the resources, otherwise you will be charged more by the Azure. Automatically it will be deducted from your credit card account if it is a paid subscription. If it is a free trial account, no worries, you can ignore. Means I am not saying if it is free trial account, do not delete the resources. Even though it is a free trial account, please delete the resources. So right now the deployment is in progress. So in the meanwhile, I will show one thing. So you need to download some client in order to connect to the SQL server, which we are going to create in the Azure Cloud Computing from your local machine. So what you need to download? Here I just mentioned one link to you. So from this, we need to here simply copy this, copy here, go here, simply paste here. So here it is a SQL Server Management Studio SSMS. By using this tool, what you will do? You will be able to connect to the SQL Server which you have created in the Azure Cloud Computing from your local machine by successful authentication yourself. So here just click on download, then the file will be downloaded on your laptop and just install it. As you know how much it is easy to install any kind of application on Windows machine, simply by clicking next, finish. Then automatically the particular application will be installed on your laptop. So here I am going to use the SQL Server Management Studio in order to connect to the database which I am going to create. So because of it is not yet created. So once it has been created, I can be able to create the database server. Guys, it is going to take some time. So you need to wait until it has been successfully created. Once the server has been created, I am going to show to you guys how we can be able to connect. And here, if you minimize it, yes, the Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio has been opened. So here what I need to do, the server type is database engine only, and here I need to paste the server name, and here I need to select the SQL Server Authentication. This is the thing which I had selected while creating the SQL Server. So that's why I need to select SQL Server Authentication. Here it is asking me to enter login password. Here what is the password? What is the username? devtester928 is my login username and password which I had set. So these things I had entered. So here what the name is missing? The server name. So the server name I need to copy from here. Just go to the resources. The deployment has been completed. Here what is the name of the server? Server name. It is asking you guys. Remember, it is asking you guys server name. It is not asking you database name. Here this is the server name. Copy here, paste. Okay, you need to select server type as database engine, and server name is you need to copy from the server name, and authentication is SQL Server Authentication. Because of here is only I just selected. Here we have the different authentication methodologies are there. So in your project how it is going to set, based on that you need to select that particular authentication model. Here I am going to select SQL Server Authentication, and here the password is going to went off. Here I am going to pass the password. Again just click on connect. Here I am going to make an attempt to connect to the SQL server which I had created over Azure Cloud Computing. Just check it whether it is going to allow you or not. 100% it is going to allow to access the mission, because of this is the credentials which I had set while creation of this MS SQL server. Let us see. So wait a moment guys, because of just now the mission has been created now, so it is going to take some time right now sometimes. So here everything is correct only. Again I am trying to connect. I am very much sure I will be able to connect to the SQL server from this local machine with the help of SQL Server Management Studio. Let me check whether it is going to allow or not. Sometimes maybe getting of DB readiness will take some time, so that's why let me check whether it is showing anything or not. Here I need to set the server name as this one only, so maybe this because of that it is throwing an error. So I'm going to change the server name as this one only. Okay, so hope right now it will be connected. Let me check why again it is not connecting. Database engine only. So I just mentioned the server name and the SQL dev tester 98. Okay, and everything is okay. Cannot connect. Okay, maybe the database server is not at already. So here again I am trying to connect database engine. The server name is I am going to mention here. Okay, Windows authentication, SQL Server authentication. Login is okay. Let me check what will happen. Oh my God. So I just got the error. Suppose what happened. So auto pass one day. Okay, it is the status is online only. So activity log. So I just want to check whether there is any issue. So yes, update. Okay, fine. Here did I done anything? So here come to security. Okay, settings, connection strings. Okay, it is not required generally. Just click on overview. Here. Okay, database engine. Just click on connect. Let me check once again. Cannot contact to server database because reason interface occurred establishment. Okay. Connection was denied since deny public access is set to SS. Okay. So here I just make the public access has been enabled, so that's why it is not going to allow me. Here where I need to set. So here go to overview. Here where I had set the permissions. So here type simply access. Simple guys, I just disabled the private access, so that's why it is not allowing me to connect to the server from the public internet. So here what I will do, so here I am going to select the option to change. So database management, okay, replicas, no integrations, no power platform, no security outing, ledger, discovery. Here I need to allow the network settings. So here where the settings is there, here settings, okay, connection strings, maintenance. Here come down properties. Here everything is okay, okay. Here, okay, okay. Here coming to the security. So here properties, okay, availability, okay, backup, okay, networking. Here I need to select some kind of networking. So go to networking. So here I just enabled the. So just go to the connectivity, public access, select network. Azure all Azure services and resources to access this server. Okay. Fine. Save. So here I am going to allow the public traffic. So this is very good guys because of in real-time scenarios as well. So everything is not in a smooth way. You need to troubleshoot it. You need to find where the error is. So here I just allowed. So then after that I am just trying to connect again. So right now I am going to check whether yes, sign in. authentication complete, you can return to your application and feel free close this tab. Okay, so right now I can be able to connect to the database engine which I had created, so it is not taken much time. Okay, so hope you guys understood. So because of I had blocked the public access to my SQL server, so that's why it is not going to allow me when I try to access the database server from my local machine over public internet. So because of that reason, what I had done, I just went to the network settings. I just make the public traffic incoming is going to make allow. So that's why after change the settings, then it is going to allow me to access the SQL server from internet or from local machine through internet. Okay, and here database engine, just click on cancel here. Yes, okay, fine. Right now you are connected. So suppose here I'm going to show to you guys some simple queries, so where you can be able to execute on top of your SQL. So here open. Okay, anything is okay, just once. Yes, here it is that. Suppose it is a kind of sample queries. Suppose if I want to Sunil IT Tech students. Suppose if I want to make this, then first of all I need to create the table. So here in order to create the table, this is the thing. So Control C, just connect here, just paste here, and you need to execute this. So once it has been executed, you will be able to see the commands. The command completion is done and it has been successfully completed. In this way, if you want to run a new query, you can be able to run a new query like, so just now I had created some sample query. I just created a table. So inside of the table, I need to insert the data, like just copy the thing, Sunil IT Tech. So here I'm going to make this, no, I'm going to make this execute. It is going to throw an error. So what the error is, select Sunil IT Tech. Yes, right now you just execute it. It is going to execute. So in this way, we can be able to execute lot of things. So here I'm going to show to you guys some other kind of sample data. So here here we can be able to create multiple tables. Here we can insert the data, we can delete the data, we can modify the data, whatever the things which we want, we can be able to perform those activities on top of SQL Server engine. Generally these activities has been performed by the database engineers. Your role is simply you need to create a database engine or database infrastructure based on their requirement. Once you have successfully done, you just need to inform to them as per your requirement. We had already deployed the database engine and whatever the database activities you can perform on those. So you simply need to create a platform for them. So the rest of all things, whatever the things which they want, they can be able to perform the database team will perform the activities over the database servers. So this task will be taken care by them. You need to create the platform for them based on the requirement. And at the same time, while deploying any kind of application, you make sure you need to create all the infrastructure end to end to make the application to be live and running. So here we have a lot of things here. So we can create the tables, we can create the multiple tables, we can insert the tables, we can insert the data into the tables. In this way, we can be able to perform multiple activities. Okay, guys. So hope you will understand how the exactly the flow is. Suppose if you want to connect from the portal as well, here we have that kind of possibility we have. Just go back and go to resource. Here from portal as well, we can be able to connect. Here connect Azure Data Studio. Let me check how here in order to do that, I need to download Azure SQL Data Studio. So by downloading this, I can be able to connect to the database server from my portal account as well. Generally, companies are not allow you to connect to the database services from the portal. Simply from your local machine, they are going to provide some kind of SQL or jump servers. There are kind of jump servers. So there are lot of security restrictions are there in order to allow you to connect to the database service. So here these are the things. Hope you guys understood these things. Okay. So in this way, we can be able to create the Azure SQL database and we can work on those things in and simple things like one more thing guys. So whenever if there is any script, suppose in your team or in your organization one database administrator is there, so he has developed some kind of SQL script, so for any kind of data modification or for any kind of data insertion. So what he will do, he is going to share the script with you and he will ask you, hey, I just had developed script and you need to deploy this same over the targeted database server. Then with the help of the pipeline as well, you can make those deployment over SQL servers. Here you can be able with the, you can make this as automation way. You can be able to create the pipeline and you can set the target environment as a SQL server. So whenever the script has been pushed into the repo, then automatically the script will be deployed over the targeted SQL database engine or database server. So once upon successful completion, you can inform to them, as per your requirement, we had successfully deployed the script which you had provided over the targeted database server. So then you can close the request. So in this way, you can work on multiple ways. You are just providing some kind of platform for them in order to create or deploy or do any modification on database servers. Okay, mostly the database engineers are going to work on these database servers. You just need to have a better understanding what exactly flow is happening. Okay, so that's why we had discussed about this database server. Okay guys, and I hope you guys understood and enjoyed the session. We'll meet up you in the next session with a new topic. Until signing off, thank you, bye bye. Do not forget guys, just please remove the resource group which you had created. So if you forget to create, if you forget to delete, Azure is going to charge you more. Okay, thank you guys, bye bye.